Hey, chess fans, this is a video about this endgame that I played a few days ago in a blitz game. And in this blitz game, I'm up a pawn, but I ended up having to settle for a draw. And being up a pawn with the two bishops, and the pawns are separated, like the pawns aren't all on one side of the board. I have a pawn on the A file and also a pawn on the EF G and H files. And I'm up one pawn, so I have a majority on one side. I felt after the game I should have won this, so I wanted to go back and analyze it and see, okay, where did I go wrong? All right, so that I pinned it back to this is one of the key positions. Now I made loads of other mistakes in the ending as well, but this was one of the key ones that I should have realized that my my big mistake was, or the beginning of my mistakes, I think, was here, and it was just a mistake in the plan. And what this started, my plan here was to try to push some pawns over on that side and maybe make a couple of trades. And realizing after, I should have been very careful with making trades because I'll show you what happened. After I make trades and trades and trades and trades, this was the final position of the game. So if I trade all the pawns and I'm just up one pawn and I traded the other pieces, he can get to a position where all he needs to do is just move move the bishop around, and I will never be able to force his king out of there completely. So if the king moves here, there's I can't move my king to e2 because the bishop is guarding there. So knowing this and going back and going, well, I should have been more careful about my trades and waited for really good opportunities. So what I should have done instead was to play this move e5, because pushing this move, it could create uh, a passed pawn. So what I mean there is if I push the e pawn up, um, I might be able to get the passed pawn in the middle. So a passed pawn would be a pawn where no other of his pawns could oppose it or stop it. So that would have been a better idea for to get my and just to get that center pawn moving instead. So I looked down some lines of some other possible ways for him to deal with that, with my better plan. And so I didn't use all computer moves for this. Some of them just looked too much like too complicated. So I stuck with the human moves. But so here's a line or a good plan that I was able to find from this. So of course, when he moves his knight here, he's attacking my pawn on f5. So I'm going to defend it. So I've got to be thinking patience here in this endgame. Patience, because if I make my trades too quick, I can stumble into the draw, like I did see, well, like what happened in the game. So in a situation like this, after he sees e5, he's thinking, okay, maybe I need to get my bishop back there because eventually I'm going to try to get my extra pawn, my pawn majority, take advantage of that and make one of them become a queen. So that would be a natural move for him to go back. Natural move for me, make my king better. Now, he might want to put his knight there, looking for a good time to trade the knight for the bishop, but I don't want that right now. I don't need to. And even though it might still be winning if he traded, just I'm gonna play it cool. It'd be much easier if I had more time, but this is definitely I've gained some instincts. I just think for spending a half hour to go over this game. So I'm moving the pawn forward, and he's going to bring the knight back because I guess maybe he wants the knight and the bishop to be there to defend this pawn attack. I'm going to make my king better, bring my king towards the center of the game. Nihad used to say, when the queens are off the board, king is king. So this king is going to become one of my best attacking pieces here. So he's going to, white now doesn't have a whole lot that he can do here. So maybe moving the king here is good. I'm going to move my king in. He's going to move knight back, maybe for lack of better or something better to do in this situation. I mean, he's white is just running out of moves, and that's what I should have done. I should have made gradually made my pieces a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and um, then have a uh, wait for the opportunities to come, which you'll see. So an idea here is now would be a good time to trade the pawns because I'm really locking in his king, and now there's this 3-on-2 on the other side, which just looks a little bit. It looks a little bit better than the 4-on-3. A 3-on-2 is going to be better than a 4-on-3. But like I said before, you don't want to trade just at like first chance you get. You've got to wait for maybe you're going to get some advantage out of it. The advantage I feel here is that his king is really really restricted. This bishop is completely dominating. Okay, so he is going to want to maybe make a trade now, try to simplify a little bit, but I don't want to have anything to do with that right now. Again, it might be winning if I let him trade, but I don't want to. I want to just keep the pressure and maybe win another pawn before I start winning, doing some trades. So he's going to want again to trade bishops. No thanks, no thanks. But now him moving his bishop there. The good another thing about that is that now his king at least can come out a little bit, so his king has a little bit more life, and that's when I play this move. And this move here, I mean, a computer helped me, but understand now because I've been able to analyze this. So he's going to take, and then most of the time I would really really strongly consider taking with the pawn because it creates a passed pawn. However, in this situation, the computer recommended this move, which went against my initial instincts, but I see why. Look at the pawn on h2. If it moves, it's going to be taken by the bishop on c8 or the pawn on g4. So it's just kind of gone now. And that is great for me because being up 2 pawns, then I can be happy with trading minor pieces as well. So having that option is just going to be huge. So that's why taking with the bishop is going to be the way to go in this position. There are going to be some situations that are similar to this where you just want to create that passed pawn because if his king is not going to be able to stop it, then it's going to become a queen. But in this case, here we go. Now the king needs to get over to that side of the board because it looks like where I'm going to try to queen, and I just take the pawn. And now I have 2 connected pass pawns on the side. Another vote for taking with the bishop here is that the pawns remain connected. Okay, so I mean in this case it's obviously really good, but because you win this pawn and now you have 2 connected passed pawns that can't be opposed by other pawns. Okay, and then bishop is going to come back, to last ditch effort to defend, and of course now don't let now, and this is another really really important part of the game. He's moving the knight. I mean, if I get too fixated on my 2 pass pawns there and leave uh, my a7 pawn to just let him have it and thinking I'm fast enough, maybe I am, but why give him counterplay? Just be calm. Simply just play this move, save the pawn, and look, the bishop is defending it as well. And if he now thinking, oh, I'm in trouble here, I got to bring the knight back, that's when you start pushing pawns, and again, calmly save your bishop. And king's nowhere to go. Nowhere to go. The pawn on g4 is covering h3 and f3, and the bishop is covering g3. So the king is in trouble, doesn't have a lot of moves. King moves back. Now, again, just make this piece a little bit better now. Controlling that long diagonal where the king is in the corner hoping to stop the pawns. And another, I guess, a move here, an idea here would be The bishop, this is a tactic. If I push g3, the bishop can win one of the pawns back. If I push h4, the bishop can win the g4 pawn. So that's a good try for white. In this case now, getting the pawn up this far, it's okay to let that pawn go, because look at what happens next. Let him take it. Check, and look at the poor king. The bishop on b7 is just controlling that long diagonal, and king has to move, and wow, nowhere to go, has to let the pawn queen, and can't even take the bishop. So after here, got to be careful now in this situation. Don't lose your new queen by coming and trying to check, because the knight is defending well. But queen here, preparing for a check next. White, got to do something here. Attack the queen, but this leads to check, and a very nice checkmate here, with the pieces working in harmony. So much better result for black here than this draw. But again, some of these ideas and concepts that I went through are difficult to come up with in a faster game. But the benefit of playing the benefit of playing faster games to improve your chess is you have so many games to look at, so many games to analyze your play, and we can be looking at openings, middle games, and especially end games, which are so important to go over and to get these instincts. So I hope the next time I'm in a game like this, I'll make a few better choices, not try to rush the ending thinking I'm up a pawn, because sometimes a pawn is not enough as to win an end game, especially if your opponent has good king position, as we see here. So one pawn is not always enough. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and if you like the video, please like it, and subscribe, and share it to a chess friend. All right, thanks for watching.